My diabetic son called me crying. My wife said, I took away his insulin pump because he didn't do his chores. He can have it back after dinner. I replied, stay right there. Then I called 911 for child endangerment and rushed home with police. When she tried to tell the officers, it was just parenting. I'm 34 years old, software engineer. My son Tyler is 9. He was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when he was 6. It's been 3 years of learning how to manage it. 3 years of night checks. 3 years of carb counting. 3 years of making sure his insulin pump is working and his glucose monitor is reading correctly. 3 years of knowing that one mistake could kill him. My wife Angela is 32. We've been married for 11 years. She wasn't always like this. When we first got married, she was kind, patient, good with Tyler when he was a baby. That changed slowly. So slowly I didn't notice until it was too late. It started small after Tyler's diagnosis. She'd get frustrated when he needed middle-of-the-night glucose checks. Say I was babying him. That he needed to learn to handle it himself. He was 6. I'd tell her he's too young. She'd say I was overprotective. We'd argue. Then she'd apologize and things would be fine for a while. Then she started using his diabetes as punishment. If he didn't clean his room, she'd say no dessert. Which fine, that's normal parenting. But then it escalated. She'd delay his snacks when his blood sugar was dropping and he needed fast-acting sugar to prevent a low. Make him wait 30 minutes as punishment for talking back. I'd find out and lose it. She'd say she was teaching him consequences, that he needed to learn that actions have results. I told her, you don't use a medical condition as a teaching tool. You don't withhold food from a diabetic child. She'd cry. Say she was trying her best. That being a parent to a special needs child was hard. That I didn't appreciate her. I'd feel guilty. Back down. Tell myself she was stressed, that she'd learn, that it wouldn't happen again. It always happened again. 2 months ago, Tyler came to me quietly. Said Mom told him if he got an A on his math test, she'd let him have his pump back. I said, what do you mean let you have it back? He said she took it off that morning because he didn't make his bed. That she said he could wear it to school if he promised to be better. I saw red. Found Angela in the kitchen. Asked her what the hell she was thinking. She said he needs to learn responsibility. I said he's 9 years old with a disease that could kill him in hours without insulin. She said I was being dramatic, that the school nurse had insulin, that he'd be fine for a few hours, that I undermined her parenting constantly. I told her if she ever touched his medical equipment again, I'd leave. She stared at me, said you'd break up our family over this. I said I'd do whatever it takes to keep Tyler safe. She didn't say anything, just walked away. I thought that was the end of it. I thought she understood. Yesterday I was at work, big presentation for a client, phone on silent in my pocket. Meeting ran 2 hours. When I got out, I had 7 missed calls from Tyler's number. My stomach dropped. Called him back immediately. He was crying so hard he could barely talk. Dad, please come home. I can't find my pump. Mom took it. She won't give it back. My sugar is getting high. The monitor keeps beeping. I asked where his mom was. He said she's here, but she won't listen. She said I have to wait until dinner. Dad, I don't feel good. I asked to speak to Angela. Tyler must have handed her the phone. She said hello, like nothing was wrong. I said, what the hell is going on? She said Tyler didn't do his chores after school. His backpack was on the floor. His shoes weren't put away. So I took his pump. He can have it back after he eats dinner and cleans up properly. It's 4 p.m. Dinner is at 6. He'll be fine. I said, give him the pump right now. She said, no. You always let him get away with everything. He needs structure. He needs consequences. I said, Angela, he's diabetic. She said, I know that. You act like I don't know my own son's condition. He's not gonna die in 2 hours. Stop being dramatic. I hung up, dialed 911. Told them my wife had taken my diabetic son's insulin pump as punishment and was refusing to give it back. That his blood sugar was rising and she was withholding medical equipment. The operator asked if this was an emergency. I said my son has type 1 diabetes and no access to insulin. Yes, this is an emergency. She said police and ambulance were on the way. Stay on the line. I said I can't. I have to get home. I'm 20 minutes away. She said, sir, stay on the line. I hung up. Got in my car. Drove 80 in a 45. Didn't care. Called Tyler back. Said, buddy, I'm coming. Police are coming. You're going to be okay. He said, "Dad, I'm scared. I feel shaky." I said, "I know. I'm so sorry. This is not okay. What Mom is doing is not okay. Stay on the phone with me." I kept him talking the whole drive. Asked him about school, about his friends, about the video game he wanted. Anything to keep him conscious and alert. His voice got quieter, more confused. I drove faster. Pulled into my driveway at the same time as 2 police cars and an ambulance. Ran inside. Tyler was on the couch, pale, sweating, shaking, monitor reading 310 and climbing. His continuous glucose monitor is separate from his pump. It stays on his arm and shows his levels in real time. That's how we knew it was 310. But without the pump, he had no insulin to bring it down. I grabbed him. The paramedics came in right behind me. They assessed him immediately. Asked where his pump was. Angela was standing in the kitchen. She looked shocked. Said, "What is this? Why did you call the police?" I said, "You took a diabetic child's insulin pump. That's child endangerment." She said, "That's insane. He's my son. I was teaching him a lesson. You completely overreacted." One of the officers asked her to confirm she'd removed the child's insulin pump. She said yes, but he'll only be without it for 2.5 hours total by dinner time. He wasn't going to die. This is ridiculous. The officer asked where the pump was. She said, "In my purse." He asked her to retrieve it. She hesitated. Said, "This is absurd. You're treating me like a criminal. I'm his mother." The officer repeated himself. "Ma'am, retrieve the insulin pump now." She got her purse, pulled out Tyler's pump, handed it to the paramedic. He attached it to Tyler immediately. Started asking Tyler questions. "How do you feel? When did Mom take this off?" Tyler said around 3:30. "After school, because I didn't hang up my backpack." The paramedic looked at Angela, said, "You took a type 1 diabetic's insulin pump for over an hour as punishment." She said, "He needs to learn consequences. He's always so careless." The paramedic said, "Ma'am, this child could have gone into diabetic ketoacidosis. That's a medical emergency." She said, "But he didn't. He's fine." See, everyone is overreacting. The officer asked if I wanted to press charges. I looked at Tyler. At my son, who was still shaking and pale and scared, said yes. Absolutely. Angela's face went white. Said, "You're gonna have me arrested. Over-parenting." I said, "You withheld life-saving medical equipment from a child. That's not parenting. That's abuse." She started crying. Told the officers I was vindictive, that we'd been having marital problems, that I was looking for an excuse to leave. The officer said, "Ma'am, this isn't about your marriage. This is about child welfare. We're going to need you to come with us." She said, "I'm not going anywhere. This is my house, my son." The officer said, "You're under arrest for child endangerment." Started reading her Miranda rights. She looked at me. Said, "I can't believe you're doing this. Tyler needs his mother." I said, "Tyler needs someone who won't kill him to prove a point." She screamed, called me every name she could think of. The officers walked her out in handcuffs. Tyler was taken to the hospital for observation. His levels were high but not critical. The paramedics had caught it in time. The ER doctor said another hour, and we'd be looking at a very different situation. Asked me what happened. I explained everything. She made notes, said she was obligated to report this. I said, "Good." CPS showed up at the hospital that night. A woman named Sarah, mid-40s, kind eyes but firm voice. She asked Tyler questions. He told her everything. About the other times. About Mom taking his pump before. About the delayed snacks. About being told he was being dramatic when he said he felt sick. Sarah wrote it all down. Then she talked to me. Asked why I didn't report this before. I said I thought I could handle it. That I thought Angela would stop. That I didn't want to break up my family. She said, "You didn't break up your family. Your wife did, when she decided to use your son's medical condition as a weapon." I just sat there. She was right. Sarah said Tyler couldn't go home if Angela was there. I said she's in jail. Sarah said she'll bond out, probably tonight. Until the court case is resolved, Tyler needs to be in a safe environment. I said he'll be with me. I'll make sure of it. She said we're going to need to do home visits, monitor the situation, make sure he's safe. I said whatever you need. Angela bonded out at midnight. Her sister paid it. She called me 47 times in 2 hours. I didn't answer. She left voicemails, crying, screaming, saying I'd ruined everything, that she'd lose her son. That CPS was going to take Tyler away because of me. That this was all my fault for overreacting. I saved every voicemail, sent them to my lawyer, Filed for divorce the next day. Emergency custody hearing scheduled for the following week. My lawyer said this was one of the most clear-cut cases he'd ever seen. That no judge would allow unsupervised visitation after this. That Angela was looking at criminal charges and potential jail time. Tyler stayed with me at a hotel for the entire week leading up to the custody hearing. Didn't want to go home. Said the house reminded him of Mom yelling. Of being scared. Of thinking he was going to die because he didn't hang up his backpack. I held him while he cried. Told him none of this was his fault. That Mom was wrong. That what she did was not okay. That he'd never have to worry about his pump being taken again. The custody hearing was brutal. Angela showed up with her lawyer. Tried to play the victim. Said I was alienating Tyler from her. That I'd called the police to be vindictive. That she made one mistake, and I was using it to destroy her relationship with her son. Her lawyer argued that every parent makes mistakes, that this was blown out of proportion. My lawyer played the voicemails, the ones where she screamed that Tyler was being dramatic, that he was fine, that I ruined everything. Played the 911 call where I was begging the operator to send help. Played Tyler's call to me where he was crying and confused. The courtroom was silent. I watched Angela's face. She looked down, couldn't watch herself being exposed. Then he called the paramedic who responded. Asked him to describe Tyler's condition when they arrived. The paramedic said the child was pale, diaphoretic, confused, blood glucose was over 300 and rising. Another hour without intervention and we'd be looking at DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis. He explained to the court what that means. Nausea, vomiting, rapid breathing, confusion, coma, death. All from lack of insulin. He was asked if this was a medical emergency. He said absolutely. 100%. There's no scenario where withholding insulin from a type 1 diabetic is safe, ever. For any amount of time. The lawyer asked if he'd seen cases like this before. He said once. A babysitter who didn't understand diabetes. We reported it to CPS immediately. That child was removed from the home that night. Then he called the ER doctor, the CPS worker. All of them testified about the danger Tyler was in. About the pattern of behavior. About the risk of death. About how this wasn't a one-time mistake, but a pattern of using his medical condition as control. The judge looked at Angela. Said, "Ma'am, do you understand that type 1 diabetes is a life-threatening condition?" Angela said yes. The judge said then, "Explain to me why you thought it was appropriate to withhold insulin from your son." Angela said, "I just wanted him to learn responsibility. I didn't think 2 hours would hurt him." The judge said, "You didn't think. That's the problem. That's the recurring theme here. You didn't think about your son's safety. You didn't think about the medical risks. You only thought about your need to be obeyed. You put your need to control your child above his need to live. That's not parenting. That's abuse." The judge continued, "I've been on the bench for 23 years. I've seen a lot of custody cases, a lot of parents who made mistakes. But this isn't a mistake. Mistakes are accidental. This was deliberate. You deliberately took life-saving medical equipment from a child. You deliberately ignored his pleas to give it back. You deliberately let his blood sugar rise to dangerous levels. And when confronted, you showed no remorse. You blamed everyone else. I'm granting full custody to the father. You'll have supervised visitation once per week pending the outcome of your criminal case. If you're convicted, you'll lose visitation entirely. Court-appointed supervisor only. You'll pay for the supervisor. You'll attend parenting classes. You'll attend therapy. And if you violate any of these terms, you'll lose visitation permanently." Angela started sobbing. Said, "Please don't take my son from me." The judge said, "You did this to yourself." This hearing is adjourned. Tyler and I went home that day. Back to our house, I packed up all of Angela's things. Her sister picked them up. Angela wasn't allowed within 500 feet of the property per the restraining order the judge had issued at the custody hearing. She tried to violate it twice. Police were called both times. She was arrested again, bonded out again. Her criminal lawyer told her to stop. The criminal trial took 3 months. Angela pleaded not guilty, said she was just disciplining her child, that she didn't mean any harm. The prosecutor brought in expert witnesses, endocrinologists, diabetes educators. All testified that withholding insulin was life-threatening, that a child Tyler's age could die in hours without it, that this was absolutely medical neglect and abuse. One expert, a pediatric endocrinologist with 30 years experience, explained to the jury exactly what happens when a type 1 diabetic doesn't get insulin. Your body can't process sugar without it. The sugar builds up in your blood. Your body starts breaking down fat for energy instead. That creates ketones. Ketones are acidic. They poison your blood. Your blood becomes acidic. Your organs start shutting down. You go into a coma. You die. This process can happen in hours for a child. He was asked how long Tyler had before he'd be in serious danger. He reviewed Tyler's medical records, his weight, his typical insulin needs. He said based on these factors and the blood glucose reading of 310 when paramedics arrived, Tyler had maybe 2 more hours before DKA would begin. Maybe 3 if he was lucky. Angela had taken the pump at 3:30. Said he couldn't have it until after 6 p.m. dinner. That would have been 2.5 hours minimum. Then she would have made him eat dinner first, clean up, maybe another 30 to 45 minutes. He would have absolutely been in DKA. No question. The prosecutor asked what would have happened if Tyler went into DKA at home with a mother who was still refusing to give him his pump. The doctor said that child would die. Angela's lawyer objected. Speculation. The judge overruled. The doctor is providing medical expert testimony. Answer the question. The doctor said, without immediate medical intervention, a child in DKA will die. If the mother was still withholding the pump, still refusing to acknowledge the emergency, that child would not receive intervention in time. He would die. The jury looked at Angela. She was crying. Her lawyer tried to salvage it. Asked if the doctor could say with 100% certainty that Tyler would have died. The doctor said, I can say with 100% certainty that a type 1 diabetic child without insulin for that duration would enter DKA. I can say with 100% certainty that DKA is life-threatening. I can say with 100% certainty that this mother's actions created a life-threatening situation. Whether the child would have died depends on variables we can't know. But the risk was absolutely there. The jury deliberated for 2 hours, found her guilty of child endangerment. She was sentenced to 2 years probation and mandatory parenting classes. Lost all custody. Tyler was relieved. I was relieved. She violated probation within 6 months by trying to pick Tyler up from school. Went to jail for 90 days. Was released 8 months ago from today. Tyler's doing better now. We have a routine. I check his pump every night, make sure his glucose monitor is charged, keep emergency sugar everywhere. He knows I'll never take his medical equipment, that his health comes before chores, before discipline, before everything. He sees a therapist twice a week, working through what Angela did, through the fear, through the trauma of thinking your own mother might let you die to prove a point. The therapist says he's resilient, that he'll be okay. But it takes time. Angela sends letters. Tyler doesn't read them. I scan them first. They're all the same. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I love you. I miss you. Please forgive me. The therapist says Tyler isn't ready. Maybe he never will be. That's his choice. I support whatever he decides. People ask me how I didn't see it coming. How I stayed with someone who would do this. The truth is it was gradual. Small things that got bigger. Boundary pushing that became boundary crossing. I thought I could manage it. I thought I could protect Tyler and keep our family intact. I was wrong. I should have left the first time she delayed his snack as punishment. The first time she used his diabetes as leverage. I should have documented everything and gone to court then. But I didn't. I tried to fix it, to reason with her, to make her understand. You can't reason with someone who sees your child's medical condition as a tool for control. Tyler asked me last week why Mom did it, why she cared more about a backpack on the floor than whether he lived or died. I didn't have a good answer. I still don't. I said sometimes people get so focused on being in control that they forget what actually matters. That Mom's need to be obeyed became more important than keeping him safe. He said that's dumb. I said, yeah, buddy, it really is. He's thriving now. His A1C levels are the best they've been in years. His doctor said he's doing amazing. That whatever we're doing at home is working. I said we just follow the medical plan. Don't use his health as a bargaining chip. The doctor said you'd be surprised how many parents don't do that. I wasn't surprised. Not anymore. I'm dating again. Nothing serious. A woman I met at Tyler's school. She's a teacher, patient, kind. She asked me about Tyler's pump one day. I explained diabetes. She said that must be hard to manage. I said it's not hard when you care more about your child's life than about being right. She said that should be the baseline for parenting. I said you'd think. Angela's probation ends in about 10 months. She'll petition for visitation again. My lawyer says no judge will grant it without serious therapy and proof of change. That her criminal record and violation of probation will weigh heavily against her. Tyler says he doesn't want to see her. I told him that's okay, that he gets to decide, that I'll support whatever he wants. Sometimes I wonder if I overreacted that day. If calling 911 was too extreme. Then I remember Tyler's voice on the phone, scared, shaking, confused, begging me to come home, begging his mother to give him his pump, and I know I did the right thing. I'd do it again, every single time. My son's life is not a negotiation tool. His health is not a punishment. His medical equipment is not something to be withheld for behavior modification. These are basic facts. The fact that I had to call police to enforce them is insane. The fact that I had to arrest my own wife to protect my child is insane. But I'd do it all again without hesitation. Tyler is alive. He's safe. He'll never have to worry about someone taking his pump again. That's what matters. Not Angela's feelings, not her explanations, not her excuses. My son's life. That's the priority. That's always the priority. People tell me I'm a good dad. I don't feel like a good dad. Good dads don't let it get that far. Good dads see the warning signs earlier. Good dads protect their kids before the police have to get involved. But I'm trying. I'm doing better. I'm making sure Tyler knows he's safe. That his health matters more than chores, more than discipline, more than anything. That's all I can do now. Be better. Be vigilant. Be the parent he deserves, and make sure that no one ever uses his diabetes as a weapon again. Not his mother, not anyone. Never again.